I'm Kathy, the Backyard Stamper. And if you're new to my channel, you can sign up for my newsletter here at this QR code. And if you have any questions at all, please email me, Kathy at backyardstamper.com. And if you like anything that I'm showing you today, you can shop my store 24/7 at kathyschmitt.stampinup.net. Well, today we're going to be scrapbooking a trip to a museum that I took in 2021 with my cousins from Nebraska. So let me, I'm using real red two-tone cardstock, and I'm using the Beautiful Ordinary Life designer series paper. What I did before my camera goofed off was I cut an inch off of two sides of this paper so that I could see the red behind. But I didn't want a lot. I mean, Nebraskas go big red, so we got to have red in there, right? Okay. I'll put that like that. I've got a new glass plate, and it's great because it holds my whole 2-page spread right next to each other with no seams, and it's a magnetic one, so I can hold these my pages right in place as I'm working. So I'm just going to go ahead and I don't measure, so I just eyeball. It helps that I do have a little ruler here as part of this glass mat. But I think that's perfect. I mean, the pages are together, but they're not together because we, you put them in the photo pages. Okay, so let me just see if anybody came back. I hope they did. So what I want to do today, okay, I've already got my pages prepped. So this is going to be my left side of my page. And I got those little doodads. So there is a scrapbooking kit called Extraordinary Life. And this, it's the designer paper that I'm using, the Everyday Ordinary Life paper. So it's Beautiful Ordinary Life. Beautiful Ordinary Life is the designer paper. So I took a couple of doodads from the punch outs, and I'm going to use those on my pages. But the rest of it I kept together so that I could put a, let's see here. I had this all nicely organized, and then I had to move my computer. So let me see here. I don't think I used those little ones. All right, let me see what I did. Well, the reason I was late, oh, hi, Sam, yay, thank you so much. This here, I took a terrible picture. I cut it off even, but it was printing on a full-size page of paper, so we didn't want that. So I am just, let me put my photos back on, and then we'll do our doodads here. Okay. I printed out in a variety of different sizes because I wanted to see if I wanted 2x3 or 3x3. So I'm gonna do something like this. These are 2x3 photos. Okay, and then I have me and my husband, and we are, oops, let me put that one up there instead. And we are piloting our airplane. Let's put this over a little more. I measured them so that they make sure that they they worked out. I might have to just come closer on the red to this side here. Okay, and it doesn't bother me that Marty goes off that side. That's completely fine. Okay, then on this side, I made this Air Force little doodad. This is my husband Marty and me, my cousin Kori, and my cousin Randy. And then this picture has Randy's wife, Julie, because we swapped out who's taking the pictures. I've got my Air Force. Let's see here. Oh, and here's where we were. We were at the SAC Air Force Base in Omaha. Okay, so I'm just laying out my photos here, and I think I need this one to come over here like that. And then my part of the museum, my cousin has like the pilot outfits, and so my cousin and I knelt down, and well, she knelt down, I didn't, and then that was fun. Okay, so I've got this, and this one here, I'm gonna just go maybe like that. I thought I had another one. Yep, I had this one. See, I do a lot of photos, so you will always see me put as many photos as possible on my pages, because if I took the time to take the picture, I want to show off the photos. Okay, I like that. This tells me where we're at, so I don't really need to go into more detail about the place. And then for this side, I have my little journaling, and we'll figure out where that's gonna go. I might switch this up like that, because then if I have this, I can go like something like that. And then here's where we were. So I can kind of, without covering up, you know, too much. So that's my layout. And then I made a little dog tag. So I'm gonna do that. I've got these little tickets here, and we'll do some of these, something like that. Okay, so now my photos have a lot of colors in them, and that's why I wanted to use this beautiful Ordinary Life paper. And so I am going to, I want to have a strip. I need a strip here. And so the easiest thing to do is look at what pictures coordinate with this. So we've got Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Lemon Lolly, Lost Lagoon, Petal Pink, Pool Party, Pretty Peacock, Real Red, and Timid Tiger. So now I'm going to look at our outfits. So the red is in, you know, like I said, we're in Nebraska. I think I'm going to do, let me look. I think I'm going to do Lost Lagoon. Do I have any Lost Lagoon? Not really. I have more Pool Party. Let me look and see what that looks like. Sometimes the two-tone cardstock has, oh, so what I did first, Sam, was I picked my photos, my theme, and then I used this app on my phone. It's called Pick Frame, and that lets you pull them in and resize them right there. Honestly, I had a little trouble with it this morning, only because I'm sure it was operator error. So I'm gonna just cut a strip of this. I think I need I'm gonna take a new strip. So then once I picked my photos, then I had my mat down without any red. I should have put the red, and then I just started laying them out. So I had originally printed this picture, which is this one, as a 2x2, thinking I was going to go across the bottom, and then these printed smaller than I thought they were going to. So I am put those. So it was a little trial by error. And then this one I brightened it up a little bit because you don't notice it that much, but it was a little dark. And then I have like this one, I meant to print it this way. So because I had so many photos, I really needed to like play with their sizes. And I just did that right on my scrapbooking. Hello, Nicole. I just did that right on my scrapbook or on my glass mat, but you can also do it right on your 12 by 12 paper. So I always make a 2-page spread, and that's how I scrapbook. So, and I also take a lot of photos. So that is how I got started. So I'm taking my pool party and I'm going to use the lighter side of the two-tone, and I'm going to cut a 3-inch strip. Oh, I should have thought about that because my picture's 3 inches. Hold on. I need 3.5. 3.5 inches. Because what I want to do is lay this behind these photos here. And I'm going to go right up to the top. And I'll see if I like that. Right now, I'm not crazy about having it be cutting off. I'm going to let my red show. So I need to cut 1 inch off the top. So at least the red on the top and the bottom is going to show. And I can scooch this in as much as I need to. So if I do something like that, now I've got my backing for my photos. This is the airplane we were in. It's called an F-101B, and it was really, really cool. So this is the cockpit, and you honestly had to climb over on your knees this part here and then get your legs down in this little space. I'm sure the pilots do it all the time. And I just liked this one. It doesn't really go with this, but I needed a 5th picture. Okay, so I like that. That looks really nice. And then I can mount these, or I think I'm just gonna leave them with, I'll photo mount some of them. So that's what I'm going to do with this here. And I actually can cut this down a little bit more. So that was 3.5. Let's do it down to 3.25. So I have my little cutter right over here. And let's see. So then I have a skinnier border. Yes, I like that better. Okay. So let me go ahead and tape this down. Tape. With the two-tone, you get to, you know, look at your, look at which side fits your pictures better. So now I am going to cut my red on this side down just a smidge. Hopefully that will give me a little bit more room on this side. If I had thought about it, I would have pushed my paper over before I taped it. That doesn't go there, that goes at the bottom. So here's my airplane, here's the cockpit, here's the side view, and here's the description. There. Okay, so let me go ahead and tape those down, and then I have those out of the way. So I'm kind of, you know, so when I'm spacing my photos, I'm going to start at the top and the bottom and kind of work my way back. I've already measured them, so I know that it's going to work, but I also need it to, I want to try to have the same amount of space. So see, I can do that and that and that. See how it was getting wider? So now I'm going to look at my spacing again. I can I'm going to leave the bottoms because I already taped them down. So now I'm just going to do the middle one. And I'm eyeballing that part of where I'm at. Maybe I will move this up a smidge. Okay, and I'll move this one down a smidge. So when you're taping your photos, just try not to use too much tape. They go inside the protective page, the page protector, so it's not like they're going to go anywhere, but if you have to move anything, it's really difficult if you like do supersonic tape. All right, I'm going to do my middle one while these are laying here so I can see my spacing, and that's going to look terrific. That is really going to look good. Okay. So when I was using the kits, I was also printing my photos. I was printing and cropping my photos, but they were always like 4x6. So then I had to trim a lot. So this pick frame app lets you trim, not trim, it lets you print to a 4x6 without having me have to crop it. So the first couple of ones I had the white border on still, and I didn't like that. So I went ahead and reprinted. And then the other tip is I use a guillotine cutter for my photos because our paper trimmer does not like photo paper, and it will start shredding a little bit. So, okay, so I'm making my pages similar by adding this strip on this side too, even though I don't have photos going on this, like I don't have the series of photos. Okay, so now let's see here, and that tag works great. These tags are so cute. Okay, and I got my military thing. I got a little bit of adhesive still on there. Let me see if I've got my eraser right here. It's always good to have a good adhesive eraser at your fingertips. So this doodad was cut using my Stylish Shapes dies for the big circle, an old star set of dies that I've had in my stash. And then this and the dog tag came from, let me see if I have that here. Yep. Came from the Service Essentials. That works out good. Okay, let me put my thing back up where it needs to be so it's always in the camera. Okay, and I'm gonna put that up here. All right. So this page I have laid out. Now I have to decide if I'm going to back my photos. And what I could do is I could trim this just barely, these photos, to, I definitely want to put something around here. So I think I'm going to look at my photos again. I've got some Secret C in there. Secret C looks good with everything. That's what this is stamped in. So I think I am going to use some Secret C. Let me just get that out. I'm just going to bring up, so I keep my scrapbooking page, my two-tone cardstock in these 12 by 12 sleeves, and that works really good. So let me just see how this is going to look. Do I have a photo here I could use? That does nothing for the photo. So I definitely don't want to use it on that. So I'm rethinking, but I might still use it down here, or I might use the Night of Navy, which is what I used here. So let me get that. So see, even though I started off, I knew what my layout was going to look like, I'm still fiddling with some of the parts and pieces, which is okay. Okay, so I am going to trim this down. Let's see here. What did that measure? That measured 3 3/4 square. It doesn't look like a square, but it is. So I'm gonna just go, I just need a skinny border. So I did 3 7/8. Okay. So now it will match this over here, and that really adds to that picture. All right, so now these here, let me see what it looks like with white. I have been backing my photos with white because white goes with everything. And let's see how that will look. Yeah, I think as long as I keep it skinny, it will look really nice. So let me, just a smidge. And I could have left the white border on, but what happened is when I had 2 pictures together and I printed them on a 4x6 and it had the white border, I had the same amount of border on the outside as the inside. So when I went to go cut that in half, it wouldn't have matched. So that's why I cut off my white borders. Well, I didn't cut them off. I just said print without the border. So let me just, I'm going to bring my trimmer in. So my picture is 4, and I just want a skinny border. So I'm going to do 4 1/8. And this is 3, so 3 1/8. So I've got just a smidge of a border. Yes. And you know what? I'm gonna tip some of my photos too. That will help me feel like I've added a bunch of photos. And okay. So, oh, talk about getting it on crooked. Okay, so to me, doing the mounting of the photos takes the longest time. And I tried to have it done before I started today, but okay, I'm just gonna cut the 3 1/8 for my second photo. And that way I have those 2 done. This pool party blends right into the sky, so I like that I chose that picture, or that color. Okay, so we've got these, and we can kind of push them up and push them down. Okay, something like that. Then I need this big guy, not the big one. I'll grab my white willow. Let's see here. I think I left this 4x4, or sorry, 4x6. So I just need 4 1/8 and 6 1/8. So I have a new, like now when I take pictures, I'm not cropping them right off the bat because it's almost better to leave them bigger and wait until you're going to go print. Because when I cropped them, I actually changed the size by accident. And then when I wanted to make a 2x3, I didn't have that available to me. So that looks really good, just like that. And then I've got this over here. Oops, let me mount that. And then I've kind of got a red, white, and blue theme too with the red, and we are at a military museum. So, okay, and I'm going to just put that straight. All right, my page, my right side of the page is going to be done here in just a minute. And let's put this, oh, I have to tape them down. I'll put that one there. I think it looks like I got this crooked, which made me put my photo one crooked too. All right, and then I've got Marty and myself piloting our plane. Marty is so rarely in my photos. I definitely wanted to make sure that he was in this one. All right, so that side is going to be done just like so. And then I have my doodad. And I'll tape that down. I don't know if I'm going to put a string on that or not. Okay, so this is my right side. Let's work on this side. So now I've got my people pictures here. Let's see here. I'm just moving that over. I'm just gonna move my little doodads here. Let me put this one down because I know where that's going. It's going right up here. Not all the way to the edge. Okay. There. I like that. And then this guy here can kind of come up. My people pictures. I'm going to trim this one down. I don't need all that grass. And I'm going to get out my guillotine. Yep. If I cut that down, see, that's going to help a lot on my spacing. Yes. Because I can't very well cut off anybody's head. So we'll do something like that. It's because I got a crooked one on that side. I'll make a crooked one on this side too. And we'll put that like that. There. I like that. This fits better on this side here. Okay. That's looking really good, don't you think? So now I just need to cut some white willow for those. Let me see if I have any that is cut already. This one might fit that one. Oh, look at that. See, by trial and error, that worked really good. Let me grab my guillotine for that. I'm going over to my folks' house after I get done. Spend some time with them today. And I'm going to take my mom grocery shopping. It's always fun. It's fun if you don't have a lot to do, which we don't have a lot to pick up. And it looks like I got to trim a little bit more. All right, that looks really good. And let's get out another, let's see here, here's another strip here. Let's see if this will fit. Yes. So I'm going to cut this down at 3 1/4. No, 3 1/8. No, 4 1/8. Actually, I like my guillotine for the photos, but I need my paper trimmer for the big guys because I need to see where I'm at. All right, 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. That's photo number 1. Yep, skinny border. And then I've got 2 more of those. So let's see here, 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. Like so. That one goes here. See, my paper trimmer needs to be changed. I got a little bit of raggedy edge, probably from cutting my photos. It really does not like to cut photos or glimmer paper or any of that stuff. All right, I'm going to bring my chopper back in. There's 2 ways to do this. You can kind of mount your photos and then chop off the extra. And since I got a raggedy edge there, I want to chop that off. So I'm going to put that there, and I'll bring my trimmer in and give it a little slice. Nib right there too. Okay, so I got that one. Let's mount these. We are almost done. I don't like having to do a big doodad all the time on my pages, meaning with the title and then you add your accent pieces. I just want to see my photos. So everybody scraps differently because of that. Some people really want to tell the story, and that's all part of it. And for me, it's about getting my photos in my book so that we can enjoy them and getting them off my phone. All right, so this one's done. Oh, here's the other one. I was like, where did that go? If you get any of those little nibbies on your white, you can you just use your fingernail and it gets them right off. I told my brother, he's an Air Force, retired Air Force, to make sure he goes to this museum whenever he's back to Nebraska, because we're from Nebraska originally. That's where I was born. I went to college out there, and now I'm in New Hampshire. Okay, just a couple more things. You know what? It's right on this cutting blade here that I got something right there. Do I have a piece of glue or something stuck there? It wasn't doing that earlier, so if it continues, I will switch out to a different cutter. There. Let me just fix that little bit right there. I think I ran it through like a sticker, and some of the residual got on there. Okay, so let's see here. I've got this one and this one. Maybe I'll put that like that. Let's see here. I don't really want the 2 people pictures side by side. Nope, I got to keep a wider one up there. Okay, so we're going to go with that. Let me cut a piece that will fit that picture. And then I could do that one in the navy too. Let me think about this for a second. Let me measure my picture because I trimmed this one down. All right, let's see here. This is 4 by 5 1/8. So if I want to cut a piece of white, I'm going to do 4 1/8 by 5 1/4. All right, something like that. And then that was almost too skinny. Let me cut a smidge off of this photo because I almost cut it the wrong amount. There. That will look better. There we go. Okay, and then let me look at the navy with it, because that would be kind of neat. And then they'd have the navy in all 3 places, and all the guys' shirts look that. So Sam is asking, do I ever make bigger borders for labeling? The answer is yes. Hold on one second here. Let me just trim this piece. So you're saying like to label under each photo and write on the border. I have, and what looks really nice with that is if you have like a old Polaroid where you have a wider bottom base. This time around, I don't have a lot of room, so I'm going to try to finagle it a little bit better. So let me just, so I've got the blue. That looks really good. And I had these cute little tickets. Yeah, I like it. That really makes that photo pop. I am not a big journaling person. What I like to journal is where we are, who's in the picture, and the date. And that's pretty much the extent of my journaling. I don't go into like my feelings or any of that stuff. I just don't. But I have put stuff out in the margin. But what we're going to do today is, I'm going to put that skinny like that one. So it will kind of imitate this, except I went off my paper. Except, can I make that fit? A little bit right there. That would be, well, I don't need to worry about it because I don't have these white mounted. So I'm just going to make it kind of similar on the side. All right, and then, but I can show you some other pages or tell you that I have done, like right under here, I would say Marty, Kathy, Kori, and Randy, their names. Because I've loaded this up with so many pictures, I almost don't have enough room to do that. So what I'm gonna do is put it on these tags that I've got. Those little nubbies really, they show up so much on your white cardstock when you're trimming, more so than your colored cardstock. All right, and here's the last one. So now, here's where I am going to add my journaling. So I'm going to add my little ticket here. My little dog tag. All right, this is mounted down. So now what I need to do is I need to write, I wrote this out. I forgot to use my journaling pen. Hopefully that ink will stay. All right, so what I need is I need to put the people. This is Marty, Kathy, Kori, Randy. So that's going to be like right there. So left to right. And then this one, the date was 2021. was July 21st, 2021. Ah. All right, and that is, I want to put Kori and me are astronauts, or pilot, calling pilot. We don't even need to Kathy and Kori goofing around. All right. Goofing around. So there's that, and then I can put Marty, so I'll write it down here. Marty, Randy, Kori, and Julie. So sometimes I do write it right on, just like that. This one here I'm going to put like so. This one here I'm going to put like so. And I think I'm going to grab some twine real quick. That will look really good. I've got my messy twine that I can't find the end to, which will be perfect for this. Let's see here. I see an end. So let's snip off a little bit of this one. And I'm gonna go from the back. No, from the front to the back. And then you come over, and let me just trim that off. So bring your loop from the front to the back, and then bring it up and put these ends through it. And when you have it, you end up with a cute little tag. So I've got that. Definitely need to trim that down. Okay. Kind of look like bunny ears. Okay, and then I've got this piece here. I'm gonna put over here, front to the back. This will also give me my little triangle, because you try to see, oops, that was my back. I messed it up. Try to put it into thirds, just to help. I'm going to pop that one up. I don't tend to pop up a lot in my scrapbooks. My older scrapbooks, I pop, and then when I close the book, oh my goodness, what a mess. So now I just pretty much keep them as flat as possible. So I'm gonna just kind of do that on an angle. And then we've got Kathy and Kori goofing around. I kind of wanted that over here, but it's kind of close to that tag now. Well, let's see, can I get that off? I use dimensionals. I just want to move it up a little bit. Leave that there. So move that up a little bit. Oops, I tipped it a little bit too much. Okay, just like that, and then I can have this one going over my photo. Kathy and Kori goofing around. There. Did I put that one down? Nope. Let me just put that on. And this is like really not a typical page, because I do have a lot of photos. A lot more than I normally would. Let me just cut one more piece of string. But it was nice because this tells us where we were. This this part here explains what the SAC is all about, Strategic Air Command. And then my pictures have all of us. And so what I might do on here is like that, and you can curl them if you want to, your tails. I'm gonna try curling it a little bit. Well, I'll do that after. I want to just write, this is Kathy, and this is Marty. There. So in case, I don't know, I'm gone and people are wondering who's in the photo, I've got the names there. I've got Kathy and Kori. I've got it written down here. And I've got where we are and the date, September 2021. Oh, that says September. Why did I write July? September makes more sense though. There. I had to look on my phone to see when it was. We're in shorts, but I have a sweatshirt on, so that's probably, September is probably right. So the pens that I'm using are Stampin' Up's journaling pens. They come packaged as a set of 3. And they have different, oh no, these are all the same millimeter. They're 0.04, which is the fine tip. I have an old one that had 0.6 and 2.3. So 0.6, this one's the new one is narrower than the 0.6. So yeah, and that looks good. So let me see if there's any other questions. I'm so happy, Sam, that you were here today, and Nicole, to share my scrapbooking journey with me.